everybody. Welcome to the morning show. We're coming to you today on WJOP-LP Newburyport at FM 96.3 on Channel 9 and on Newburyport Community Media's YouTube station at ncmhub.org. I'm your host, Mary Jacobsen, and today I am very happy to welcome two representatives of the Amesbury Council on Aging who are here to talk to us about an exciting new grant they've received from the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs. Doreen Arnfield is here. She's the director of the Amesbury COA. So first off, Doreen, welcome, and thank you for taking time to visit the show.
Thank you for having us.
My pleasure. Andrew Suggs is also here. He is the program coordinator and also handles community relations for the Amesbury COA. Andrew, welcome, and thanks for coming.
Thanks for having us.
It's my pleasure. Well, first of all, congratulations on getting this grant.
Thank you.
And I think you just got word a couple of weeks ago that you had it, so it's fresh and very exciting. And let's start then by tell us how much the grant is for, what made you decide to apply for it, and what are the overarching goals of this particular grant?
Well, I'll start off just by doing a broad overview, and
Great.
then Andrew can chime in with the particulars.
Excellent.
The grant was for $100,000.
Wonderful.
We got the full amount that we applied for. We are one in 25 or 27 in the state. Do you know if
25.
25, yeah, one of 25 in the state. Really, we just always knew there was a need to educate and support older adults with technology. Just older adults weren't brought up with it.
Yep.
Some pick it up faster than others. There are some that are left out. And so we're all connected somehow through technology nowadays. And so we wanted to, we just knew that. We just didn't have the resources to kind of, we always ran like a weekly tech support. One or two people or volunteers would help out. But this is that on steroids, this program.
Wonderful.
You know, this is going to be so much, that and more.
That's just so needed. I mean, as we were talking a little bit before the show began, not only did many of us not grow up with it, but it keeps changing.
Yes.
It keeps evolving, and
Yep.
it gets, to me, it feels like it gets faster and faster. And so even if you know how to DVR, nonetheless, as I was just saying, what's a Roku?
There's always more to learn.
There's always more to
Always.
learn, and it is hard to keep up with. So I think it's just a fabulous idea, and I'm really glad that you applied for and that you got the full amount of the grant, which says something about the quality of the grant that you applied and your ideas.
Yes.
So maybe Andrew, you want to tell us a little bit then about some of the kinds of programs that you're looking forward to offering, and also you mentioned hybrid programs. What makes them hybrid?
So I mean, the basis of the grant was, it was pitched openly as a hybrid programming to, for homebound seniors and other members of the community that can't maybe get to the center.
Yeah.
It was something we always kind of dabbled with, and then during the pandemic, when we couldn't operate at the center, we kind of went full bore into it, and we found that there was a gap in the knowledge base. We were trying to we were hosting game shows, we were doing meetups, little happy hours, whatever we could come up with just to try to get people online and talking and, make sure nobody was isolated. And then we did okay with it, but we saw there was the same people, and it was not really, there seemed to be some roadblocks for people getting in. So when the Office of Elder Affairs offered up this grant, it was a great opportunity for us to have the resources to do what we've always been talking about and wanted to do, but just weren't capable of. So now our goal out of the gate is we're going to build like a mobile broadcasting station. So all of our programming at the center, we want to be able to parallel with it online. So we have 6 exercise classes every week. So we'll have it set up so we can broadcast it, do like a Facebook Live. And then if you're at home or, one of the housing complexes, they can get together or, in the comfort of their own home, follow our balance class, do the Zumba class, do the yoga class, and if they're not able to make it to the center, they can still participate.
So that'll give people both access and continuity.
Absolutely.
Then, and so they'll be on site at the center, but also people can zoom in whenever they might need to, or simply prefer to. I mean, when it's as cold as it's been.
Sometimes it's just a convenience thing. Maybe they just don't want to go out.
That's
it's
right.
slippery out, or
That's
it's
right.
cold.
but they don't have to miss anything.
But they don't have to
then, or
miss
feel left
anything,
out.
and they're connected, and that socialization factor. That's what we want. We want everybody to feel connected if they want to be.
Well, at a time when loneliness has been described as of epidemic proportions, our Surgeon General has referred to loneliness as an epidemic in the country, it strikes me that this couldn't be more timely. So bravo, well done. It
Thank
sounds
you.
very
Thank
exciting.
you. Well, we have a team of social workers at the center too, so we really work very closely. We have an elder mental health outreach team called MHOT, works with older folks in crisis, some sort of mental health crisis. So that connectedness, that loneliness factor that you were just talking about, that's related. So we really understand how important it is sometimes just to be with one another.
Yeah.
Not even for any good reason, just sometimes having that human connection is important.
It absolutely is, and it doesn't have to be for a lofty reason, or there's just something about companionship, simple companionship.
Yeah.
That,
And we do so much. I'm sorry to interrupt.
No, go ahead.
But we there's so much that we offer that I'm not sure everyone knows about. So this is an opportunity for us too to kind of get the word out, to say, hey, here we are. This is what you have, all these choices. Take your pick.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So people can customize then as well what they're interested in and what they feel they will benefit the most from. So were you going to say something, Andrew?
Oh no, I'm just going to agree. It's we have such a strong social work team at the center that
Wonderful.
We're so cognizant and aware of the needs and abilities of out there. And I think in today's day and age, this is it's a godsend for this, because we have the technology now that there's no reason anyone has to be left out of anything that we do.
Yeah.
So it's so easy to connect, and us being able to go out there and help our members and help our community members find a way to connect with us that they weren't able to before. And it's gonna be some good work, but I think with a few stepping stones and the help of this grant, we're gonna be able to get so many more people involved and really open some doors for people and make connections they haven't had before, and hopefully maybe even energize some people that were hesitant to come out or hesitant to come through the center to engage, get to know what we do there, get to know the people we have there, get to know other members, and maybe hopefully they'll become, not just online programming, but come into the center with us as well.
So you're really building an inclusive community with this outreach,
Yes.
Which is such an important goal. And you've identified what some of the blocks are, and these days technology can be a block, and you're finding very creative ways to overcome those blocks and include people. Well, I'm curious, what are some of the new programs? You clearly have a lot going on already with exercise programs and your social work outreach programs, but what are some of the new kinds of programs that this grant will enable you to offer people?
You want to go?
Yeah,
Sure.
I think we got a lot of fun concepts we're running around right now. One of the first things we're going to be doing that this grant's going to afford us the opportunity to is the tech support and help for members at home. Like we always have a weekly tech support where people bring in their iPhones and iPads to get some help. But one of the things we haven't had the opportunity to do is to have someone to go to homes and help somebody reset a router, help somebody learn how to get online, teach somebody what Zoom is. So we'll have an in-home tech support option just to start us off. So then as the fun stuff comes along, everything we do at the center, we're hoping to get involved in. We'll, take home art kits so they can join the arts and crafts classes, the watercolor class, obviously the exercise classes. We have a very big film day on Fridays. No reason not to have a parallel and go. But some of the specific programming for just at home, like we want to do a game show on Fridays where people come in and we have a couple different platforms to play our own version of, Family Feud or Jeopardy. We're going to have an online trivia team. We're going to have online social hours. We're going to have online support groups, which is another big part. It's not all fun and games. This is also going to give us a chance to do and support a lot of people that are supporting our members already that could also use some support.
Yep.
So, at the end of the day, the sky's the limit. We're hoping that the community themselves gets involved, tells us that what they'd like to see. And, it's just like at the center, we'll try everything. We've got from crafting to cornhole, and, we're having concerts and barbecues. It's if we have somebody that's interested in doing something, we're going to give it a shot. We have a creative writing class that just started last week. We're talking to a poetry teacher who likes to come in and do that. So, we've got so many ideas. It's just a matter of, it's, I know what I like to do. I got to find out, and we got to find out what the rest of the community wants to do.
Yeah.
And the beauty of it is, especially, with the online, it's like there could just be focus groups on people, they want to speak French together. People want to talk about collecting or comic books or baseball cards. It's if we can just find what people are interested in. We have a genealogy group that's starting next month.
Wonderful.
So people can go on and go online with the library and learn about and research their family tree. So it's really,
It makes our job fun because
the sky's the limit.
sky's the limit. We can sometimes we talk and we bounce ideas off each other, and by the end of our meeting, we've got all these grand ideas. Yeah, it makes our job fun because now now we have some money to back us to do the work. So, and we've got some really good volunteers lined up, experienced teachers and tech people, and so we're pretty confident we can do a good job here and support people, not just one time, ongoing support. Because you're going to have questions afterwards,
Sure.
And then the secondary effect of all of this is that people are going to be well versed in using the tablets or the cell phones or whatever it is, their computers, laptops. They can maybe connect with their grandchildren or family members or friends now.
Right.
Secondary effects, sort of. Just they'll be more savvy and be able to do more things on their own.
They'll be able to teach others.
yeah.
And then teach others,
Please,
right?
hopefully.
Yeah.
Well, I think that's just brilliant.
Yeah.
Because
But the goal is sustainability. So having classes and teaching, give a man a fish, teach him to fish. It's
right.
So if we can make this sustainable, and that's one of the goals of the program and the grant. While we want everyone interacting with us, we want to make sure they're comfortable interacting in this world around us now.
Right,
And
that's right.
and it's I know it can be very, fear-provoking for some people when I just know there's a lot of people have switched from a flip phone to a touchpad phone, and they're in Wednesday and be like, I have no idea what to do with this. It's like, all right, let's go over it, so.
I got a new phone. How do we get the stuff on the old phone onto the new phone?
Oh,
yeah.
And these things take time. It's not just one class. It's going to take time.
Yeah.
And we know that.
Yeah.
So.
But it strikes me that there's a whole vocabulary that people who are conversant with technology understand. And there are apps that will help you transfer stuff from your old phone to your new phone. But you have to know what the app is. You have to know what an app is.
That's number one.
Yep.
You have to know how to download an app and not be scared to do it.
Well, there's language in any field, right?
Yeah,
Any
that's
field we go
right.
into, there's a certain language that
Right.
you have to understand.
That's right.
And you're right, the technology language. Sometimes I get stuck on that.
Yeah.
Andrew will say something, if you don't know the language, you stop right there. You kind of stop short in your tracks because you
Right.
don't know what are you talking about? So.
But even at that, I remember once when I was having a new router installed, asking the technician who came to install the router, well, what exactly happens in there? And he kind of shrugged and said, it's a black box. So we're up against that.
Yeah.
Nonetheless,
Yeah.
it is helpful to know how to reboot your router.
Or what a router is. And what's the purpose of a router?
But I found it reassuring that even
that
the technician was going, it's a great mystery. But nonetheless, there are things you can learn to make the router do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
But I think that having somebody through your grant funding able to simply go where the people are who need the tech support, I think that's just brilliant, because that could be a real barrier for a lot of people. Just figuring out where to go or who to call, and to be able to, and that's a question though, by the way, if people want to avail themselves of that kind of tech support to figure out, my Wi-Fi's off. How do I get it back on? How would they gain access to the tech support that you will make available to them? Simply call?
Yeah,
the
we're,
senior center?
we're right now we're gathering. We're going to be buying equipment. Right now
Yeah.
is the planning phase. We're buying equipment, setting things up, getting our volunteers in line, figuring out a
Right.
schedule for classes, and then the soft launch will be in March 1st.
Which is coming.
Coming soon.
Yeah.
And so, it'll be in the newsletter. I'll be doing robocalls, and basically it's call the center and sign up
Great.
for certain things. So calling our number, do you want me to just throw
Go
it
ahead
out
and
there
say it,
now? It's
yeah.
978-388-8138. Calling that number, you'll get the reception desk, and there'll be sign-up sheets for the different classes, and we'll have those details figured out
Sure.
shortly.
Sure.
Yeah, but right
Sure.
now we're sort of just planning it all out.
Well, which is the exciting part.
Yeah.
I mean, it's all exciting,
Yeah.
but it's fun. What stands out to me as the two of you talked is how excited both of you are about being able to offer this as a service to the community, and the impacts, the positive impact, the ripple effect of the impacts, both the kind of immediate inclusiveness of people who can gain access to your version of Family Feud or genealogy, which is a hugely growing interest in the days of 23andMe and, people able to do that kind of research. But it's clear that this is dear to your hearts, so that comes
Well,
through very clearly.
I feel like it's, I don't want to say the one thing missing, but it's certainly, we've tried to provide a well-rounded programming schedule
Yeah.
and services in Amesbury. And I feel like this is the one thing that we haven't been able to sort of get to. So I think if we can master this, so to speak, or get more people up to speed, I don't know. I don't want to say we've done it all, but I mean, I feel like I would feel good about it.
Absolutely.
I think it's sort of a gap there.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think one of the analogies I always use is that, it's like I think we have all these wonderful circles of what we're able to accomplish at the center between, mental health and outreach
Yeah.
and programming. And this is our chance to pull everything together and get that Venn diagram and just get that
right.
one little spot in the center just to make everything
Yep.
connect for everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because increasingly that little spot in the center of the Venn diagram is technology.
Yeah.
Because more and more, some of the older, quote unquote, ways of doing things, like, using your landline to call somebody up, a phone book, they've just disappeared. And so more and more, if you don't have access to technology, to a pad or Wi-Fi, you lose access to services. And so
You do.
We're gonna,
Unfortunately, and in the social services field, everyone is very much aware that you have to provide not only online information, but you have to provide the hard copies for older folks that
Yeah.
aren't, tech savvy. But eventually, I don't know if it'll completely go away, but it's diminishing. I
It
think of
is,
the
yeah.
encyclopedias. When I was a kid, you'd have the whole set of encyclopedias.
The World
Now,
Book.
I mean, now you Google something, you look
Yeah.
it up on your phone, and
Right.
in an instant, and you can get any answer you want. So
Right.
it's very different world.
I mean, we're all in conversations these days when somebody will say, I don't know, this unfamiliar word here, what does it mean? And somebody will go,
Yeah.
wait a minute.
Yeah, you can
Oh,
find
this
out
is
the
what it
answer to
means.
anything.
And it may or may not be accurate.
So, and then there's Alexa and Siri.
Yeah, that's right.
The convenience of having that in
Right.
people's homes
Right.
for physical reasons, for mental health reasons,
Right.
Or for just convenience. So there's so many aspects to this
Right.
technology piece.
Right. Yeah,
That we're
absolutely.
gonna address.
Yeah. So you'll be opening up many doors.
I think so.
For people. In some of those doors in the actual material world, it sounds science fiction like, but it's true, they're disappearing. They're becoming cyber doors. And if you don't have the resources and the knowledge base, then those doors will remain closed to you. So it is very exciting and very important. And it strikes me that the Massachusetts Executive Office of Elder Affairs must have also shared your sense of the importance of this
Oh,
because they made these
absolutely.
grants available, and I think
Absolutely.
25 communities now
Oh,
will
yeah.
have the ability to offer, just advancing older adults' technological skills, which is important. And
I think this is a result of the pandemic. I think
Yeah.
I think everyone learned something from the pandemic, but being isolated. I think that's where this comes in.
Yeah.
That would be my guess from the state.
You remember when we didn't have Zoom as a vocabulary word?
Yep. Yep.
But you know, Zoom or other similar kinds of programs are really what enabled us to have a lot of the human contact we had, because otherwise you had to go outside, stand 6 feet apart.
Yeah, we had nothing else.
We didn't
Yeah.
really.
Yeah.
So
I mean, if the pandemic happened 6 years before, I think it would have been in a very different place, you know?
yeah, you're right, Andrew.
So it's, I mean,
Yeah.
if you think about just even the timeline and the way everything,
Yeah.
I mean, the iPhone only came out in 2007.
It's
So
remarkable, isn't it?
Yeah, it's
It's like, I was thinking the other day of when I was in grad school in the late 70s, and we had, I don't know if you'd even remember mimeographs.
love those.
Mimeograph machines with a hand crank. You know, and so, oh my word.
So when you think about that, how much has changed for people
Yes,
that have
right.
lived that long?
That's right.
What a change and what an adjustment
Right.
for people. And whether
That's
they
right.
want to adjust or not, that's up to them.
Yeah.
But we're here if they want
That's
it.
right.
The options are here.
Right, which is so important and so helpful.
Yeah.
Well, I was curious. I noticed in some of the material you sent me ahead of time, you mentioned some of the topics you're thinking of offering, and one of them was helping older adults be alert to scams, because when you're on your pads, or anytime you're on the internet, you get emails, and somebody I interviewed once said they call them scam artists for a reason, because they're very good at what they do. And so I was hoping you could tell me a little bit about what you're hoping to be able to provide, because older people are often a target audience.
So with, I think there's fear when I don't want to, ignorance is kind of a word that can be taken misunderstood, but if you're ignorant to certain things,
Yeah.
if you're not educated, you have fear, right? So
Right.
I think some people avoid computers and technologies because, first of all, they don't want to break the computer, or
Yes.
they don't want to do anything that's catastrophic. But
It might explode.
right, but the fear of being scammed, just how many times do we get text messages on our cell phones now, even more so recently,
Yeah.
or on an email? So to empower people to have the knowledge to know how to detect
Yeah.
what a scam is, what it looks like, when not to engage. Almost like when you're answering the phone, you're told don't even engage, just hang up the phone. Just teaching people, empowering them, giving them that sense of control over something like that. That's what we want to accomplish. Do you want to add anything to that?
Yeah, I mean, we've been fortunate that it's something that we're looking to expand on, because we have offered more than a few presentations at the center already. In
wonderful.
conjunction with the Amesbury Police and
Yeah.
some of the banks and some of the other organizations that have been kind enough to come out and present. We even had Officer Tom Hanshaw, who used to write a monthly article in our newsletter.
Yes, right.
Always talking about
you know.
scams. Yeah.
And I think it's a lot of things we've seen, and like I know there's been more than a few times someone's come into my office and been, I got a call from the IRS. They want me to buy a gift card. It's like, do not do that. Like,
We
that
get
is
those
not how
calls.
they work.
We get
It's,
those
Yeah.
calls all the time, don't we?
yeah,
Yeah.
and it's
Interesting.
they have scams called like the grandchild scam. It's
Right.
like the seniors are a very targeted population.
Yeah.
So one of the things we want to do is just kind of keep our fingers on the pulse of how they keep changing. It's like tax season's coming up. We know people are going to get fake calls from the IRS telling them that like you'll be arrested if you don't
Right.
answer
They
us
use-
right now, and just like
yeah.
that's not how any of this works.
Right.
So it's like education is key.
Yeah.
And with this grant, luckily it's like besides the fun stuff, we're going to have the money to buy equipment to help people get on, but then also the assets and the people involved to go out and share that information and be able to spread that and make sure that safety is the number one priority for us at the center. We want to
Yeah.
make sure all of our members are safe and happy, and it's going to be a great opportunity.
I think that's such an important goal, and I'm really glad that you're offering it. And I think that the more conversant anyone is with using technology, using email, getting text, everything, the more you yourself learn what looks fishy. You can tell when something is written by somebody who's not a native speaker. If you get a phone message and it's someone speaking Chinese, chances are, or you can, so I think that it's a skill that will build upon the access to technology and the comfort level dealing with it. You learn how to hover over the return address. And that's such an important way. So if it's a bunch of numbers rather than the name of somebody you know.
And it's a very simple way.
So,
it's a simple
very
way to,
simple
to
way.
know.
But it's
Yeah.
also the kind of thing, like, the more you use technology, the more it comes naturally to hover first before you open anything. So I think that's a skill that coalesces, really, with the other skills you're trying to help people, because the more you use it, the more you're a safe driver of technology, I guess would be one way to put it, and you know what to look out for. So I think it's a win-win-win.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's key, especially nowadays. A lot of it's because as people get more educated, it's definitely getting more crafty, and everything's becoming
Yes.
more
Yeah.
reactionary now.
Yeah.
Where it's like you want to go sell something on Facebook Marketplace, and like, oh, buy it. I'll meet you at Walmart. Here, let me PayPal you, and then you instantly have a fake PayPal email. You're like, oh, I sent too much. Could you send that back to me? And like, it's like, oh yeah, I only want 100. Here's 200. It's like, next thing you know, you're sending a random stranger $100 because you got a fake email. So it's getting crafty, and it's just
Yeah.
it's so much of it is like quick response that
Yeah.
like it's very important for people to
Yeah.
and it's I think it'll be a very popular topic in one
I'm
of our classes.
sure, and knowledge is power.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And knowledge is safety.
Yeah.
So you're increasing both the knowledge and the power that goes along with it to
And-
protect yourself.
And we
So-
hope to increase people's confidence so that they feel good and confident using any kind of technology.
That's great.
That's the goal.
Well, are there other topics? I mean, I know you have the ongoing kind of like creativity and brainstorming about all the different topics that people might come up with based on their interests, whether it's baseball cards or, UFOs, or no, they call them something else now. But but are there other, in addition to teaching people how to spot and avoid scams, are there other topics that you're planning to offer that you're really looking forward to?
I think one of the main things we're doing is we're trying to build out a curriculum right now for a class that's, all encompassing, from this is a computer, here's how you turn it on,
Yeah.
to by the time you're done, here's how you run a Zoom meeting with your family out in California, I think the number one thing we want to do, and I think that'll get most people excited, is just, we're going to have the money to build a lending database of computers and tablets.
Oh, great.
And then getting people to put their hands on it. I think
Yeah.
even with the volunteers we have at the center, some of them are tentative to get on a computer because it's always like, well, I don't want to mess anything up. So the one thing we're always telling and preaching to everybody is just be willing to try. We're going to get you there. So having a class that just, literally starts with them opening a computer, I think it's going to be eye-opening for a lot of people that have just been
Yeah.
resistant to trying. And then from there, there's so many different programs out there, and there's so many things that could be beneficial to someone's life. Maybe it could be as simple as, hey, here's how Excel works so you can learn to make a budget. Or, it's like, oh, here's our craft class. Let's play with Photoshop,
yeah.
We have some great people lined up that want to help teach classes. And so hopefully, beyond the general class, we'd like to have specialized classes every week to focus on things, and sometimes it'll be as simple as, here's how FaceTime works. Come bring your iPhone and we'll teach you how to FaceTime. Sometimes they get really advanced, and here's a database program, and go start your own business. It's, we're hoping to keep it somewhat fluid to make sure that we're, we'd be crazy to think we know what everyone needs right now. So as we progress and we build the program, we're looking to build it specifically to the community and what is necessary.
Yeah, I'm sure that as you begin your launch in March, and you will learn a lot. There'll be a feedback kind of loop
Yeah.
with what you'll find, people express the need for, and where people are although, it strikes me that, starting with just, this is a computer, this is how you open it, this is how you turn it on, and these are the things that you can do with your computer, to this is Excel, this is Photoshop, more advanced things, to, build your own website. And there are programs now that make all those things accessible to any of us if we feel confident enough to download the program and experiment with it. But I think a couple times you mentioned, you won't destroy your computer. But I remember my first computer, the feeling this was, decades ago, but the feeling I had that if I touched the wrong button, it could explode. They don't. Or that they would kind of, just become a screen with a lot of letters and numbers that are indecipherable, and I won't know how to get back to something I recognize. But there's always a way back.
There is.
And you're going to help people figure out what the way back is,
Yeah.
and they'll be expert on that. By the time they're done, they'll be doing whatever they choose to do. Actually, that's what comes through to me, that you're going to help people start from the beginning down the road of technological knowledge and sophistication, and they can branch off wherever they want. They can build their own websites or develop a business or whatever, or they can stop when they've figured out this is all I need to do. I can Zoom with my family in California now, and that's all I need to do. So I think it's very exciting the way you're talking about customizing your approach as well, starting where people are.
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the biggest classes out of the gate will end up being, here's how Facebook works. It's like we use it extensively, and for the center, and uploading photos from our events. So when everyone hears, it's like, oh, the Christmas party was awesome. There's photos on Facebook. I don't use Facebook. It's like, well, let's help those people get online so they know. And
then what
and
not
such
to say on
connection
Facebook.
Yeah.
What not to do, too, on Facebook. Maybe Facebook etiquette, maybe some kind of thing like that. But we want to be the people to lean on. So everyone needs people, someone to lean on.
Yeah.
So I think Amesbury COA will be hopefully known that people can lean on us when it comes to technology with this grant.
And how broad will your base be? People outside of Amesbury, will they be able to access these kinds of programs?
I think so. I don't know how much we've really talked about that, but Amesbury probably will have first preference.
That makes sense.
But and we will assess along the way multiple times to the point that you were just saying about we think we know what the good ideas and good topics are, but we're going to make sure and get feedback from other people about how, and we will pivot whenever needed. But we will be, we're all inclusive. So an older adult is an older adult. I don't really care where they come from.
I mean, that's the beauty of the program too. It's hybrid programming. If we're doing a class on Facebook Live, join us from Arizona. It's let's get some new perspectives. Let's see what's going on out there.
We may have to limit it if we're doing home visits at first to see how much capacity we have, but we'll do our best to include everyone.
Well, I would call it a work in progress, but it sounds like you're both going to have so much fun with this program. Let's call it a dance in progress.
Yes, I like that.
Is there anything that I haven't asked you about that you'd really like to make sure that people learn about before we finish today? Or
I feel like you've
covered the bases.
If we have time, I'd like to do a shout out on something else completely different. Do we have time for that?
Dance with it.
All right. I want to speak to Amesbury residents just for a moment to say that it is, your tax bill. You just got your tax bill, and we have a program to help alleviate that tax bill. $1,500.
Wonderful.
There's 30 slots. It's called the Veteran and Senior Tax Work-Off Program, and the deadline to apply is January 30th. So coming on this show today, I thought I would take advantage of just letting people know if they haven't got their application into the Council on Aging, you can get the application right there on site. You can download it off the Amesbury website, off of our page, the Council on Aging page. And we can talk more about it, but the application, it explains it in detail what it involves. It's really working 100 hours between March and October. You get $1,500 off your taxes.
Which is a substantial amount.
It is. And there's only 30 slots, so there'll probably be a lottery. Anything over 30, anybody applies. More than 30, we'll have to do a lottery. But just want to encourage people to apply, and I will help fit them to a certain city department to work in. So I will never place somebody somewhere they don't want to go.
Excellent.
So we talk about that together.
Okay, that's really a great program then,
Yes.
and since the deadline is January 30th, time to get those in.
Yes.
So,
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. And do you want to repeat your phone number? Because
Yes.
that would be, please, why don't you go ahead,
Yeah,
Doreen?
it's the Amesbury Council on Aging at 978-388-8138.
Okay, very good. Get those applications in. $1,500 is no joke.
Yes.
And by next year, they'll have been able to take a class and they'll know what it means to download a document.
Yes.
If they
yes.
don't already,
or
they'll
to
know.
get on the website.
Because they'll have learned how to open
Yes.
a computer, and this is what you can
Yes.
do. You can get things, and you can download them, and then you have them.
Good point.
So it's all good. Well, it's just wonderful. Congrats again on getting the grant. It's very exciting.
Thank you.
And the sky really is the limit. And I just love the enthusiasm that you bring to this, and the many, many, many positive impacts, the good ripple effects that being technology can have, and opening up a way to include older adults in everything that happens on the internet. So anyway,
Thank you for the opportunity.
thank you for coming and sharing and talking about it. I think it's really wonderful what you're doing.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, that's it for today, everybody. Please join us again next Thursday at 9 for the morning show. Till then, be well, everybody, and stay warm. Bye-bye now.